Elijah. Hello, Ezekiel. Hi, Paul. Hey, anybody else? Well, it's another time for story time. And we are still reading this book of your great grandmommy Hicks's that she got from her Sunday school teacher called Prayers for Little Children. And remember, it has some sections for mommies and daddies. You can listen in too. This section is Prayers for Help in Being Good. Prayers of thanksgiving and joy will be a large place in a little child's life. Will have a large place in a little child's life. But there will also be prayers for help in being good. As a little child begins to pay attention to what others do for him, he gradually comes to feel a sense of gratitude to them for their kindness and to understand what love really means. Also, as he begins to pay attention to the beauties of nature about him, he comes to feel awe and wonder and gratitude to God for the world in which he lives. But he must have also many opportunities to show love to others. Doing too much for the child and not allowing him to have the joy of doing for others will hinder his religious growth. He will never really begin to understand the meaning of God's love until he himself shows love to others. Just as soon as the little child begins consciously to show love to others, he will have trouble with his self-centeredness. Up to this time, he has not thought about it at all. He has not been aware that he was self-centered. But when he begins to want to do things for others, he finds out that he often wants to do two things at once: to do what he wants to do and to do what will show love to others. If God is real to him, he will want to pray about it. At this point, the child needs careful guidance from parents and teachers, and we must be very thoughtful as we give this guidance. It would be very easy for us to use prayer to bring the child to do what is convenient for us. We might suggest to the child that he ask God to help him be quiet, or to help him be obedient, or to help him like spinach. We might suggest that he ask God to forgive him for doing wrong when he has done something which has merely disturbed our own adult convenience. Herein lies the grave danger of confusing the child by adding to the weight of our displeasure the awful weight of the displeasure of God. Let us as parents and teachers try to think clearly and act wisely in this matter. Of course, we have to have some rules in the family and group which the child must obey without question, for his own safety. He must not climb up on the ledge of upper-story windows. He must not play with sharp knives. He must not strike matches when he is alone, and so on. But we should make and enforce these rules quite impersonally, without trying to make the child feel that we are pleased or displeased about them. There is no question of right or wrong about them. There are situations in which it is perfectly right for a person to be on a window ledge, or to use sharp knives, or to strike matches. The point is merely that little children must not do these things because of danger to physical safety. They should be punished in some quite definite, prompt, and acute fashion, such as a spanking, for breaking these rules. But the purpose of the punishment is to remind them to observe the rules for their own safety, not to make them feel sorry for having done wrong. If the parent becomes frightened when he sees the child in danger, then he is emotionally upset and should recognize the fact and get himself in hand before he administers punishment. Otherwise, the child is the victim of the parent's disturbance. But this type of control is quite different from that involved when the parent suggests that the child ask God to help him mind mother at all times, or to forgive him for having done something which annoyed us. This last is, we think, a mistake, because it leads the child to feel that all our impatience and misunderstanding are also in the heart of God. How then shall we teach children to ask God's help in being good? The prayers on the following pages suggest some of the approaches that others have found useful. The words of these prayers will, we think, help the child to feel confidence in the ever-constant love of God and to feel that he can talk things over with him, even when his mother or teacher fails to understand. Parents and teachers may use them with children as morning prayers when the day is fresh and new, or as evening prayers when they feel that the day has been difficult or that children are tired. Sometimes it will help if the parent or teacher will let the child know that he himself feels in need of God's help too. And there may be times when the parent or teacher will ask God to forgive him rather than the child. Now, let's turn the page for the prayers. You guys ready? I am. Let's see. What time of day do you think it is here? From this little boy's outfit, it looks like maybe it's nighttime. Well, this is a prayer for help. Dear God, I said some cross words and quarreled some today. Please help me think of kind words and pleasant ways to play. Cross words are kind of angry and harsh, and quarreled is like argued. So now that we know that cross is kind of angry and harsh and quarreled is arguing, let's read that prayer again. A prayer for help. Dear God, I said some cross words today and quarreled some today. Please help me think of kind words and pleasant ways to play. And this prayer is titled Like Jesus. Dear God, I like to think of Jesus who was a child like me. Help me in all my work and play to try my best in every way and so like him to be. That's the goal of all of us at mommies and daddies and grandmommies and granddaddies and children, is all to try to be more like Jesus. This prayer is titled Forgive Me, God. Forgive me, God, for things I do that are not kind and good. Forgive me, God, and help me try to do the things I should. It looks like this little boy is picking up toys and blocks, and so is this little girl. And we all have to ask God for forgiveness, as we all do things that displease him. Even mommies and daddies and grandmommies and granddaddies and even priests and everyone, all human beings, because all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, and we all have to ask God for forgiveness sometimes. This prayer is titled To Help Others. Help me, O God, to use my body and mind to find and serve those who need me. Help me, O God, to be kind and fair to all with whom I work and play. Help me, O God, to bring joy and love and happiness to everyone. I can pray that prayer too. Help me, O God, to serve others and to be kind. This is a prayer without words. Yet there's words on this page. That's a little interesting. Let's see what the prayer without words is. The world is very still, dear God. I'd like to softly pray. I have some lovely thoughts of you, but thoughts are hard to say. Yet you can even hear my thoughts, the thoughts I cannot say. And you can love a little child who finds this way to pray. That is so true. Sometimes we have so many thoughts, and it's hard to put them into words exactly, but God knows our thoughts, and we can pray to him even when we can't put it into words. Here's this little girl in her hat outside, and so many thoughts are coming to her that she wants God to know about. And he does. but she acknowledges that she wants him to know. This part is memorizing prayers. The prayers which have been suggested in this book are not, for the most part, intended as prayers to be memorized and repeated again and again by the child. Rather, they are intended to serve as aids to parents and teachers in suggesting the types of prayers it is reasonable to expect of little children and in helping the children to form their own thoughts into words. It is much more valuable to help the child make his own prayers than it is to teach him to say a prayer written by someone else. If the child's interest in prayer has been stimulated, and if he has been given some experience in praying through the use of this little book, the parent or teacher need not be concerned about his memorizing prayers. Later, perhaps, he will find joy and satisfaction in the beautiful prayers of the church. But while he is a little child, it is probably better not to make any formal effort to have him memorize words of prayers. If he calls for the words of some special prayer which is read to him, this will indicate that the words of that prayer are especially meaningful to him. In this case, he will learn the prayer through the continued use of it rather than through any drill of the words. The prayers on the following pages are brief expressions which may be used as morning prayers, evening prayers, or grace at mealtime. This one is titled, Thanks for Care. We thank thee, loving Father, for caring through the night, and for the joy and gladness that come with morning light. This one is for daily food. For things we like to eat, thy loving gift of food, we thank thee, Lord, today, for thou art kind and good. This one is, I'm glad. I've tried, dear God, to do my best. I've had a happy day. There's something sings inside of me and makes me want to pray. This one is titled An Evening Prayer. Now the sun has gone to sleep and birds are in their nest, so I will say thank you for my day, my busy day of work and play, and then I'll go to rest. Thy love. Now my work and play are done, I rest me in thy care, and while I sleep thy love will keep thy children everywhere. And this one is good night. I like your little stars, dear God, they seem to twinkle so. And now, good night, I'm off to sleep, and in your care I know. There's the little child in bed, going to sleep peacefully, knowing God cares. And there's the index. That is the end of our book. Well, that's the end of story time. I love you all. And when you think you want to talk to God, do so. He's always listening. See you next time. Bye.